Good evening, Misberia. This is your Grand Duke, Otto Green the First and Second. This is your April 2026 monthly Fireside Chat, also known as the fourth Fireside Chat of 2026 and your 20th overall Fireside Chat. This evening, I would like to address a few things going on within Misberia, as well as in my own personal micronational career and the various concerns that I have heard regarding various different shifts internationally that I have done and would like to alleviate those concerns. First of all, Misberia is leaving the Transatlantic community of nations formally. That does not mean we do not consider ourselves Transatlantic. That does not mean we do not feel ourselves to still have a special bond with the nations of the Transatlantic community. However, we do disagree on the continuation of various treaties upholding the Transatlantic community. This includes the Treaty of the Northern Seas and the Second Treaty of Port Elizabeth. These two treaties, while foundational to the community, do not define the community and how to function when there is very little involvement. While every nation is unique and special on their very own, including in their levels of involvement, that does not mean that type of involvement that others are putting in is mirroring or equal to what others, such as Misberia, feels is necessary to consider continuing their cooperation within the community. Therefore, as of today, we have left the Gulf Sporting League and have announced the Transatlantic Sporting Union. This will be organized by Misberia, Atlia, and Uberlaren Francesca, as it has currently been run as the Gulf Sporting League. This means that the sporting events will not change. The participation invites shall not change. If you're interested in participating, you do not need to be considered a Transatlantic nation to participate anymore. This is in light of 9 separate nations signing up for the Etchemin-on-Kennebec Classic Moonball Championship, which has included at least 3 different non-Transatlantic nations. Furthermore, while we have a deep respect for our fellow Transatlantic nations, it is within the firm interests of the Misberian government, including that of the Grand Duke and the Prime Minister, to continue moving forward as a more solitary effort. We'll be focusing more of our efforts to our individual allies instead of broader communities. Yes, we will be remaining in the Grand Unified Micronational. Yes, we will be continuing our current treaty objectives that we have set forth for ourselves for the Diversity Awareness Collective of Micronations. Speaking of that collective, as a man holding a degree in special education and various degrees within my state regarding certifications, including but not limited to crisis management, mediation, first aid, daily living skills for adults and children, and behavioral support skills for children and adults, I believe that I am uniquely qualified to establish such an organization to support and bring awareness to disability issues and campaigns to the micronational community and abroad. I do hope that you'll consider looking at our charter, which I will include in the description, as well as in the Misberian Discord server. If you have any questions, you may contact me at the misberiangov@gmail.com. But again, I will include that email in the description as well. Moving forward, Misberia internally will be focusing on more quality of life updates, such as our website updates and various updates to the realm. This will include, but not limited to, considering how the realm is figured out and set up. That will include a constitution. That will include various different ways for outside nations to be involved in realm affairs or policies if they so desire. Moving outwards, we look into my own personal career. Unfortunately, I have had to make very difficult decisions and conversations with the Grand Duchess of Delhi, as she is the property owner to the land that the Empire of Austenasia held for the town of Etchemin-on-Kennebec. She has decided that she no longer wants to be involved in Austenasia for a variety of reasons. I will not speak for her on her behalf. However, I do agree and believe she is justified to make this decision as she decides. Unfortunately, that does mean I will have to step down as a member of parliament, as I will no longer be representing a town, as well as no longer being the Deputy Prime Minister of Austenasia due to this lack of Member of Parliament status. For clarity's sake, I will be continuing as the Minister of Culture for Austenasia, and I have resigned as the Consul General of Maine and the Ambassador of Austenasia to the Union of New Virginia. I have done a great amount of work in those two fields, especially to New Virginia as it's the ambassador from Austenasia. This has included the Great Reconciliation, perhaps one of the greatest and wide-spanning achievements of my career micronationally so far. I am deeply honored to have been allowed to have helped mediate that crisis and to have helped pave the way to establishing a more stable micronational community. Looking forward to my town that is now becoming independent, me and Adeli have agreed to proclaim it as the Serene Republic of Etchemin-on-Kennebec, and in doing so, I have offered my mediation experience and services to both the Union of New Virginia and Empire of Austenasia, respectively, as a neutral third party. Again, this does not mean I am giving up my interest in either nation. It just means that I am now focusing more on my own interests, which mostly include, but are not limited to, personal development and stability within the community and within my own mental headspace when it comes to micronationalism. I am looking forward to working with everyone under Etchemin-on-Kennebec, as well as in the disability awareness campaign that I'll be doing with the collective, and looking forward to supporting our good friends over in Atlia, Brodtreth, and Ublar and Francesca in their continued development of their nations. I am very excited to consider myself a more active micronationalist than I was even just 48 hours ago. I understand there are concerns with these wide-ranging changes that I have made in the last 48 to 72 hours. I hear you, I understand, and I do apologize if any of this has come as a surprise to you. These are things that have been simmering for myself for far too long, and following varying discussions with many of my friends, both in Misberia and abroad, I have come to realize that not only have I been making more commentary on the negative, but I've been failing to recognize the achievements, the positive aspects of my own involvement in the community, which is why I've made all these changes. I look forward to working with everyone, and as a reiteration, in this next month, in April, we'll be focusing on quality of life updates, including website and legislation. We will also be focused on getting the Disability Awareness Collective of Micronations up and running, hopefully by the end of April, with the charter published and our first member, which will be Misberia. I also am planning on establishing a more mediation-focused center for Etchemin-on-Kennebec as it becomes its own territory, its own nation. I look forward to continue serving in Austenasia and in New Virginia if given the chance. I greatly appreciate you all listening so far, and I hope you have a wonderful day.